Our next speaker knows what it means to stand strong. She speaks up when others remain silent. She is always on the scene when she sees others hurting or in need. She takes action. Unfortunately, we don't have enough of her in the world, specifically female CEOs. She is not only my friend, but I am proud to call her my sister, and I am so proud to introduce her to the stage. Please put your hands together. Help me introduce this amazing, powerful woman, my friend and sister, CEO of United Way of Roanoke Valley, Miss Afira DeVries.
Oh, let me take this in for a second. Look at this crowd. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I also feel like I need to tell you all that in my veins runs the blood of a Puerto Rican Floridian. So I want to ask you to send some warmth this way toward me and all the amazing women and girls that went before me with a resounding round of applause, please. Thank you. So when I was thinking about what I might speak to today, I couldn't help, like many others, reflect on all that's happened in a year's time. And I had the privilege of being in DC on this day last year. And the thing that I remember the most was this palpable sense of rebellion. You know, this sense of resistance. And I remember thinking at the time, wow, this is amazing. I've never felt anything like this before. Is it gonna last? Are we going to be able to sustain this? And I think it has. Yes. I think we've done it. But I think something else has happened. I think that we are and have been handed a series of surprises in the last year that maybe none of us could have anticipated, and maybe now we are carrying with us a sense of bewildered anger. Yes. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Maybe not all of us, but most of us are feeling just sort of a sense of bewildered lack of understanding. Yeah. And how could we not? But the recognition of that truth, for me, brought to mind words of the wise Maya Angelou. She said, "You should not be angry." Oh, no, rather, you should be angry. We should be angry. We're right, everybody. We should be. But, you must not be bitter. Because bitterness is like cancer. It eats upon the host. It doesn't do anything to the object of its displeasure. So use that anger. You write it. You paint it. You dance it, you march it, and you vote it. So, guided by Maya's words of wisdom, instead of spending my time with you here today speaking of the many reasons we have, the many valid reasons we have for bitterness, instead what I wanted to do was speak with you about what I have learned in the service of others, about fighting and winning, even when the deck is stacked against you. I want to speak with you a little bit about what I've learned from people who have struggled in the shadows of society for far longer than our recent awakening might suggest. You see, there are places in this country and in this community where our individual political views do not matter at all. Do you know that? There are places where it simply doesn't matter what party we affiliate with. I have found that place on a city bus here in Roanoke, in the seat next to a father who was incredibly worried about being late for work again. And you know why? Because he had a record. And even though he knows he paid his debt to society, he also knows that if he loses this job, the chances of him finding another that will allow him to sustain his family are terrifyingly slim. And he doesn't care who I voted for. He cares about how he's going to make it another day. You know where else I found that place? I found that place in the living room of a single mom who is as proud of her ability to take care of her babies as she is worried about the next shoe that's going to drop, the next crisis that may threaten her tenuous grasp on self-sufficiency because she's just barely making it as it is. And I've also found that place where none of our politics matter, in the quiet moment in conversation with a refugee family who shared their tears and their stories with me and told me about the horrors they left behind in the country that they fled. And they told me about their version of heaven that they found here in our city. See, there are people who we know. They live among us. They're our friends. They're our co-workers. And they do not and have never had the luxury of worrying about the us and them of our political climate because they've been too focused on the here and now of survival. And we, in this here and now, in the moments when we are worried about the survival of all that makes this country great truly, we now can learn from them. Because their daily battles teach us a couple of key things that I want to share with you. They teach us that survival requires a tribe, my friends. It requires a tribe because no one makes it alone. Any thriving community and any effective movement is rooted in a will to rise above differences, because that's the only way to fight to live another day. The tenacity of those who struggle in this community, the tenacity in the face of adversity, it teaches us that resilience and self-pity are incompatible behaviors, my friends. They just don't work well together. And either behavior is all-consuming, but only resilience leads to progress. And we also learn from them that dreams are a luxury. They're a luxury. But aspirations are an action plan. And so I want to ask you now, I want to ask all of you now, what are our aspirations for the energy that we have built here today and in the months leading up to these moments? And I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for a lot of friends. Because here's the thing. Everything that we're afraid of losing has for far too long eluded a population of our society that has struggled for a long time under the weight of poverty. They have struggled to be viewed as worthy. They have struggled for a measure of equity. And they have lived in the fringes in order to avoid being sent back to the places that they fled in order to pursue a better life. So, along with the challenges that we face as a nation, we have also been given the gift of a silver lining. And that silver lining is collective will. And from that silver lining is reflecting back to us the light of our intentions. And it is shining so bright that not one of us is missed, even those who are accustomed to being hidden. It is shining so bright back at us now that we can't ignore it and we can't look away from it. We do not have a right to look away from it now. So what are we going to do with it? We are awake, aren't you? Yes. We are aware. We are focused. We are bold. And we are unstoppable. And so now is our opportunity to fight for ourselves, to protect the future for our children, but to also bring those out of the shadows and onto the same path toward progress that all of us have enjoyed and have cherished. I spoke a minute ago about anger and bitterness, but let's be clear. Anger is not real. Anger is a secondary emotion and is more often than not a byproduct of fear. Do you know what I mean? So, I want to leave you with this. Can any of you think of a positive movement that has accomplished great things for humanity that was fueled by fear? Because I can't. No. It is time now to put anger and bitterness and fear behind us in favor of conviction. Because that's the stuff of action, right? Anger and fear fade, but conviction endures. And it is fueled by something called hope. And hope, my friends, is something that humans are endowed with in endless supply, so long as we lock arms and we stay focused on a shared vision and we keep putting one foot in front of the other foot, moving and marching forward and treading on common ground. I thank you all for being here. Let's do this.